Where we left off last time, I was cutting and pasting this y equals mx plus b formula into the lines corresponding to our various samples. I want to make one very important point before we continue. We are always going to subtract the y-intercept from the value, or the peak area value. We always use the y-intercept as part of our calculation for concentration. We are always going to assume that there is a reason why the y-axis intercept is not exactly 0, and we're assuming that we shall have to take that into account when we do our calculation. Okay, the next thing that I like to do is I like to color code my samples. So the Cove sample, for instance, we'll just keep that as it is, CR1, CR2, CR3. The check standard, the digestion check standard, we'll keep that as it is. But we had a undigested standard in the S2 cup. We had, I repeat, an undigested standard in the S2 cup. So anywhere we see that S2 cup undigested standard, we are going to color code it yellow. Go to our cells and we'll color code it yellow. Well, actually, let's color code it a nice shade of yellow. All right, there we go. So every time you see this yellow, that will indicate that we are using our digestion check standard, or our undigested check standard. Now, why did I use an undigested standard as a check? Because we have plenty of it. We don't have to worry about running out of our digested sample, or our digested standard, of which we only have 24 milliliters. What we're trying to do with our check standards is we are trying to prove that the instrument is not drifting over the course of the run. So if the peak area for our check standard at the beginning of the run is the same as the check standard at the end of the run, then we have proven that our instrument is not drifting. So let's continue to highlight these, color code them yellow. And so on and so forth. Then any spiked sample, any blank spiked sample, any duplicate sample, these are all quality control samples. So I like to color code them green. So we'll color code them green. And we could use our paste for our format paster as well. So this is a spiked sample. So that gets color coded green. It's a quality control sample. Our check standard, which again is undigested, that gets color coded yellow. So it's easy to tell our samples apart. Our reference material, again, is a quality control sample. So we'll highlight that. Our duplicate sample, our East Arm sample duplicate, is for quality control. So we'll highlight that green, and so on and so forth. So now when we cut and paste onto the next page, we are going to have, it's going to be easy to tell which of our samples are which. Okay, so I'll finish highlighting these standards. Ooh, wait a minute. This is a digested check standard. So that is a quality control sample. That should be green for quality control. And our undigested check standard is going to be yellow for undigested check standard. And all of our samples are just left white. Oh, here's a duplicate sample. That gets highlighted green. And so on and so forth. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is open up a new tab, which will be Calculations Part 2. So let's go back to our first tab here. We'll highlight the columns that we want to copy and paste. We will copy, then go to Calculations Part 2, and we're going to paste Special. And now we're only interested in the values. We are not interested in the calculation. We have done our calculations. We're happy with our calculations. We are going to, actually we can copy and paste the values and the number formats, and there we are. Okay, very good. Now comes the fun bit, when we actually begin to erase some of the data, some of the rows that we don't need. And I'll halt the recording now.